I just want to let y'all know, and you're hearing it from me first, right? American children will not survive. The children of America, the current children of today, they won't survive this new America. They won't survive the new America and whatever is left of America in the future. Listen, there's so many different moving parts that are going on right now, right? So let's first talk about Trump administration. They're deciding to cut funding from the Department of Education. Either cut funding or they're going to altogether throw away the Department of Education in general, right? So listen, I'm not here to say, whether I agree or disagree. Listen, I'll let the people decide that. I'll let y'all decide whether it's good or bad. I'm just reporting what's going on. But listen, I know for a fact that many children, if they haven't already been left behind, they're going to be even more left behind. Remember No Child Left Behind? Well, that is no more. Almost every child in America will be left behind, except for those who live in wealthy neighborhoods, like always, right? And listen, we already know the public education system or the public indoctrination camps. We already know they are a load of BS, right? We already know. Listen, even when I was in school, right, 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago, right? I can't recall anything that I've learned outside a little bit of history and counting on my fingers, and that's about it, right? As far as things that I do in my everyday adult life, I didn't learn a dang on thing. I didn't learn a damn thing, right? I know for a fact school, the current public education system is not raising kids to be adults. They're not raising kids, or should I say, teaching kids to be adults. They're not teaching kids to be, fundamentals. They're not teaching them the fundamentals that they need to be grown adults, right? And this is the reason why we're seeing so many grown children, right? We're seeing so many children stay home, right? We're seeing so many immature adults. America is altogether immature. America is a very immature nation. Like, and you can trace this all the way back to how children were raised. Listen, inflation has been increasing, everything has been increasing. The two-parent household is almost non-existent, and it'll definitely be non-existent in the next 10 or so years, right? So corporations are requiring both parents, right? If you have two parents in a household, they're requiring both parents to be gone from work, right? They're requiring both parents to be gone from work. So what does that leave the children? Well, that leaves the children with no supervision, right? And what happens when children have no supervision? They're not being looked after, right? More people are reliant upon the government, right? They're relying on the government, and they're reliant upon the school, the public indoctrination camps to raise their children, right? What happens when you cut that funding? Well, you're going to have a lot more kids who are starving, right? Child homelessness, child hunger is going to increase. Listen, I'm not here to disagree or agree or say what is right or what's wrong, right? I'm not here to say what could possibly save us money and what possibly can't save us money. Listen, I'm not here to be the judge and jury. I'm just presenting to you what more than likely is going to happen in the near future. There are several many states, right? Many districts who rely heavily, probably anywhere between 20 to 30%. They rely on federal funding, right, to take care of their kids. Listen, the disparities are going to increase. I told y'all. Listen, it doesn't matter who is in there, the show will continue. Listen, there is no winning for the average person. Our kids are doomed. The children are doomed. Have you met some of these kids nowadays? They're complete idiots. They're the smartest idiots I've ever met. They are the smartest. They can tell you everything about technology, right? They can tell you about all the things technology that don't matter. They can tell you about all these social media. They can tell you what's going on social media, and that's another problem, right? They're too busy on social media and not being innovative, right? They're not being creative, right? We think that, oh, they know so much. They're so smart. They know how to work all of these apps and technology. Listen, they're the dumb smart kids, right? Just like how you can be busy and not productive Most of the kids in America, most of the children in America, they are busy minded, but not productive minded, right? And that's what Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy, that's what they were kind of getting at, right? They were kind of getting at that America has a culture, right, that doesn't produce bright people. Do we have bright people in this country? Sure, of course. But is it at mass? No. The majority of people are dumb. And we're gonna see over the next 10 to 20 or so years, right? Probably sooner than that, we're gonna see an increase in stupidity, right? The adults are already stupid. The adults buy into programming, right? Listen, imagine this. The children can tell you more about what's going on social media, right? They can tell you about the latest influencer and what car they bought or what house they bought or what drama is going on, right? They can tell you all of those things, and you got to also think that they're witnessing trauma on an unprecedented level, right? They're witnessing trauma on an unprecedented level. Like I can open you. Do you know what adults have to go through and see when they open up this app, open up Instagram, open up Facebook, open up Snapchat, right? We're seeing all kind of sexual content, right? And we wonder what's going on. Why America and the West are so sexual? Why the women and the girls are so freaking out there with it? Well, it's because every time they log in, they see the same booty clapping that I'm seeing. They're seeing the same nudity that I'm seeing, open nudity, right? They're seeing the nudity on YouTube. They're seeing the nudity on Instagram. They're seeing chicks shake their booty. They're seeing the OnlyFans, right? The girls in high school today, they're already plotting on becoming OnlyFans, especially if they got the looks and the body, right? If not that, they're already doing it. Our children are doomed. Our children, man, this is going to get ugly. We think society is falling down. Wait till they come in, right? Wait till they become adults. They're going to be lost in the sauce. Millennials are already lost, right? Gen Z, I think the last of Gen Z, they're already adults now. They're already lost. So imagine when, like, who's after Gen Z? Gen Alpha? Imagine the generation after Gen Z. What happens when they come up? Bro, it's going to be ugly, right? The men are going to be even more feminized than they already are. The girls are going to be even more hypergamous. They're going to be even more hypersexual than the current generation. Is going to be all out ugly because they're witnessing all of this online, right? But nobody in mass is being innovative. Nobody in mass is being creative. Nobody in mass is doing anything. But it's not, of course, the children's fault. It's not. United States is falling behind on many metrics, right? And the most important of them all is the family, right? How can we expect children to be the best possible children they can be when these corporate behemoths, right, are robbing the people blind, right? Nobody can no longer afford to live, right? People are staying in one bedrooms and they need a roommate in major cities, right? That's where all the jobs are. So most people have to flock towards major cities, right? People can't even afford that, right? So imagine people who have kids and have two bedrooms and things of that nature, bro. They have to be gone all day, especially when it comes to single individuals who have to raise those children by themselves. Even if you do have two parents in the household, right? Even if you do have two parents in the household, more than likely both of them would be working, right? I remember when I enrolled my daughter into daycare. I didn't enroll my daughter into daycare until she was borderline able to talk, right? I don't believe in throwing a child into school, daycare, right out of the womb, right? She stayed at home. My daughter stayed at home for her first 2 years, right? 2, 3 years, right? Uh, then you had the pandemic and all of that stuff, right? Or pandemic, whatever y'all want to call it, right? We had all of that stuff, right? And she didn't go into daycare until she was able to talk. So, but the point is, I was witnessing people newborn babies, like fresh out, like going to daycare. Moms handing the children away, right? Mom and dad handing that newborn away. Do you not know that there's a deep psychology in that, right? those first 2, 3 years, those are supposed to be bonding years with that mother, right? Those are supposed to be bonding years. But the cost of living, the cost to live has gotten so outrageous that women, they can't stay home long enough, right, to really raise those children. They can't stay home long enough to really, bond with those children. They hand them right over to the government. So I'm indifferent on it. I understand that cost needs to be cut, right? I understand that we have been spending just outrageously, probably longer than I've been born, probably longer than you've been born, right? And not only are we a country of debt, or the citizens are in debt, the country is also in debt, right? The country is also in debt. We are in an indebted nation. We're an indebted nation from the lowest of the low, right, to car loans, to loan sharks, to mortgages, all the way up to the highs of the highs, right? To the corporate industries, to the politicians, right? We're a country in debt, right? So most of us are busy trying to pay off debts, right? Which also includes living expenses, which also includes the mortgages, which also, in my opinion, include rents and car notes, all of that, right? Student loans, all of that. We're a busy people, right? Americans are busy but not productive, and the children are going to suffer. The children are going to suffer tremendously, right? They were already suffering from the get-go because public education is trash. Public education is trash. My daughter, she's homeschooled right now. She's homeschooled, right? And for many, that is a luxury, right? And I understand that. It's a luxury. The majority of people, they can't afford to homeschool their children, right? They can't afford to, do that, right? They can't afford it. Right? Hell, like most people can't even afford to send their children to school, right? Or daycare, right? That also is a luxury. So it's kind of a double whammy. But honestly, the children are going to be in the bad spot. The adults are in the bad spot. The adults are in the bad spot. The adults in a horrible spot. The adults in the West, and especially in America, are some of the dumbest. I mean dumb, they're some of the dumbest people I've ever met. Many people are dumb. Many people are okay with propaganda. Many people are okay with being handed crumbs. Many people are okay with being in the state of affairs that they are in, because most people are normies and they don't think outside of their normie box, right? Most people, all they know is division. Right? All they know is division. All they know is to point the finger. All they know is it is somebody else's fault. All they know is it's the Middle East. All they know is it's the Indians. All they know is it's the blacks. All they know is it's the whites. All they know is it's the immigrants. All they know is to point the finger. We're in a bad spot. And because the adults are so dumb, the grown children are so dumb, just think who's raising the children. The actual children. The actual kids, right? Who's raising them? Well, the idiots that I was just speaking of. That's who raising them, right? Or the public indoctrination camps are raising them. Or the streets are raising them, right? Families are done. No more is grandma or papa or mima or anybody. Those days are done, right? Most of our grandparents, they're passed on already, right? Most of the boomers are done, right? They're done. They're passing on, right? And what's after that? Gen X, right? And we know Gen X is all messed up. We know Gen X is all messed up. So the age of community, the age of family members taking part in raising the children as a community effort, those days are done. The time where the neighbors were watching your children and making sure that they were doing what they were supposed to do and they weren't getting into trouble and they weren't outside fighting and fucking, those days are done. Those days are done. And with these latest budget cuts or budget cuts that are bound to happen, more kids are going to be in shambles. More kids are going to be in shambles. The half, and I keep telling y'all this, the disparity between the have and the have-nots is going to skyrocket, right? Because many states and many districts, they depend on federal funding to keep things going. They depend on that, right? We already know that some of the best schools, right? Some of the best schools, they're based on the proximity or the area, right? So if you got high net worth individuals, a high net worth area who are paying, high property taxes because, everything is high over there. The property values are high and all that stuff. They're paying property taxes that are also high. More than likely, those are going to be the best school, like they already are, right? Like they already are. Those are going to be the best schools, right? So those schools that depended on federal funding because they stay in less than desirable areas, right? They don't benefit from the property taxes. They don't benefit in the area proximity. They don't benefit from that, especially if the whole area is poor. If the whole area is poor, God help you, right? God help those who have kids and they can't afford, basic stuff. Listen, that's probably more, a little bit over half of America. That is more than likely a little over half of America, right? Who are either middle class to below middle class. That's probably half of America, right? There are only a specific amount of Americans who stay in bubbles of areas. Y'all know those bubbles. Y'all know those bubbles, those areas that you hit and you're like, wow, I wonder how much that house cost. Wow, look at this area. It's a Whole Foods over here. It's a Sprouts over here, right? Look at all this stuff over here. And then once you pass through that, then you hit bumfuck Oklahoma, right? Listen, it's about to get ugly. I keep sounding an alarm. I keep sounding an alarm. This is why nobody wants to have kids, right? This is why nobody wants to have kids. First and foremost, the kids of today are out of control because no one's raising them. Like I said, you might as well hand the children over to wolves because nobody's raising these kids. The adults are checked out. The adults are checked out. And the kids are dang near, you might as well say that they're miniature adults. They're still children, but they're miniature adults because of what they're consuming. So you have more and more kids who are turning to extremism, right? You have more and more kids who are turning into hypersexualism. You have more and more kids turning towards gender fluidity, if that's a word, or becoming more gender fluid, right? Listen, it is off the chain, right? I've met so many, especially Gen Z girls, right? And I'm talking about young Gen Z. I've met so many Gen Z girls who go both ways, right? They don't care. It doesn't matter what state of affairs we're in. Listen, this stuff is not changing, at least no time soon, if ever, right? A lot of these chicks and dudes, they go both ways. They're gender fluid or sexually fluid, right? They don't care. This is why nobody wants to have kids. Life is all over the place. Honestly, who wants to bring kids into this kind of environment? Who want to bring kids up in this kind of environment, right? With the division, right? And shootings, right? Skinny pop-pops happening every freaking month. It seems like every other month. It seems like dang sure a dozen of them every year, right? And they're not learning anything. The United States is falling behind in every metric, right? Infrastructure behind, technology behind, family behind, right? Everything is behind. Everything. And nobody wants to bring children in this current state of affairs, right? Not only is the American culture, it is absolutely trash, right? It is absolutely trash. America is, especially right now in the past 20 plus years, America is the most divisive and violent nation that I can think of. Definitely top 3, right? If not top 5. America's for a first world country, America's a very violent and divisive nation, right? And we already know there's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of things that are being worked against the people, right? But isn't it up to the people to wake up? Isn't it up to the people to decide who's running what? But the people are asleep, and the people want to be asleep, right? The people want to be under this spell, right? Because many people don't care. They don't. So we're going to have a whole culture of children who also grow up not caring, right? We have a whole culture of children. They're going to grow up not caring about anything, not caring about education, not caring about doing the right thing, not caring about having a moral character. The moral fabric of this country is decaying. Do you hear me? The moral fabric of this country is decaying, and the trickle down effect is evident. It's evident, right? If the United States could, they'll probably elect Satan himself. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. We are all over the place. The children of America, they won't survive this, right? They're not mentally able to handle all that's going on. They're seeing all of this just like we're seeing all of this, right? They're growing up in this. They're growing up in all of this divisiveness. They're growing up in all of this turmoil, just as we are growing old amongst all this turmoil. They're seeing how the adults act. Don't you know that we're setting the example for them, right? When they log online, we're seeing literal adults go back and forth in the most immaturest ways that you can possibly think of. They're seeing, the hatred being spewed amongst us, right? They're seeing this day in and day out, right? So, listen, man. Listen, it's going to get bad. I told y'all, there's going to be a lot. America is entering into a point of no return, right? And of course, I believe that is all on purpose. I definitely believe that is all on purpose. It's all by design, right? It's the same attempt for centuries. It's the same attempt for centuries to keep the poor divided, to keep the poor pointing fingers at each other, right? Separate people by party, separate people by race, separate people by gender, right? Keep the poor separated while we continue to suck up all the resources, right? And if you just so happen to make it up in rank, if you are poor, only a few will escape. Only a few will escape. The children are doomed. The children of America are doomed, man. The children of America are doomed. And like I said, with the Department of Education disappearing, being cut, right? Only the wealthy and upper middle class kids are going to survive, right? Those are the ones who are going to get the best education. Those are the ones who are going to get the contacts and a network to get into the high and prestigious universities to get even more contacts and network to boost them up even more in wealth, right? While the poor kids, right? While the middle class, that's non-existent. While the rest of the normal everyday people, while they suffer because they got to continue to go to work. They got to continue to struggle, right? They're barely keeping up, right? And you think the school system is going to be able to keep up with this? No, hell no, right? Many teachers across many districts are already coming out of pocket just to, provide materials for the classroom, right? Many districts are already underfunded. Many districts already don't have any money, right? Many districts are already behind in funding, right? Or underfunded, right? It's over. It's over. I told y'all. right? Who will survive in America? It surely won't be the majority. And that's an after pill. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.